Tonight on The Future of Everything, we've got 3-eye atlas updates and maybe even our best shot yet to clearly see the third interstellar object ever detected passing through our solar system.
Stop scrolling. In hours, a neon green trespasser will knife across Mars's sky, and either we expose a new chapter of comet physics, or we stare down the possibility that something out there moves like it means it. Earth is about to duck behind the sun and go half blind. No safety net, no second take. The only eyes that won't blink are cold machines above a red desert, and a swarm of backyard rigs waiting for a curve to jump. If the universe has been dying to say something outrageous, this is the night it speaks in light. It never acted like ice obeying sunlight. No gentle warm-up, no tidy curve. The brightness hit in staccato bursts. On, off, on, like a heartbeat sprinting stairs. Spectra leaned hard on carbon dioxide while water whispered from the back row. The dust refused to behave like flour. It drifted like snowballs, big grains that hang, fall, and twist the tail into stubborn shapes. And wrapping the whole scene, a viridian corona that didn't feel like a footnote. Plenty of comets flash green. This one wore the color like a badge. Any single quirk could be shrugged off. All of them together felt like a dare. But the light wasn't the loudest part. The shove was. Each time the glow surged, tiny changes in trajectory showed up in independent data sets. Different telescopes, different code, same cadence. Those step changes didn't look like messy vents throwing tantrums. They looked sequenced. Metallic lines winked in and out of the spectra like match flares. Here, gone, back again. Too slippery for a single instrument to trap, too repeatable to dismiss. And the path? Interstellar drifters should fall in from every angle like rain. This one hugged the plane of the planets as if it had directions. Corridor, not chaos. When brightness beats a line with micro-nudges, coincidence starts to look like coordination. Mars becomes the laboratory. Mars Express will sweep and sweep again, frame after frame, building a heartbeat of the coma. MAVEN will eavesdrop when charged particles rattle a sky that barely counts as an atmosphere. The Trace Gas Orbiter will sniff for chemical wrong notes and ionospheric kinks that shouldn't exist. MRO will track dust veils and glints that blink where no glints should be. On the ground, Perseverance and Curiosity can log light, dust, and radiation spikes if weather and bandwidth don't pick a fight. If fragments skim the upper air, they could paint ghostly auroras, kick ripples into the ionosphere, and leave fingerprints only orbiters can read. Data won't arrive like a live stream. Solar glare, relay windows, and static will stretch the lag. In the gaps, amateurs pounce. A backyard array in the southern hemisphere might flag a step jump before a billion-dollar platform even turns. That's not a flaw. That's how discovery works when the clock moves faster than bureaucracy. The safe script is still in the room. It says this is a CO2-rich interstellar comet born in a colder nursery, with subsurface pockets that pop when the sun loosens the crust. Heavy grains drag the tail into weird geometry. Solar wind throws elbows. Models catch up later. Oumuamua taught caution. Big claims lit up headlines, and then papers stacked with natural mechanisms. Hydrogen outgassing, nitrogen ice, ultra-fluffy aggregates. Skepticism isn't the enemy here, it's the guardrail. But 3 burrs refuse to shake loose. First, the highway straight approach along the ecliptic is a long odds roll for a true drifter. Second, those beat-linked microaccelerations keep reappearing in teams that don't share code or coffee. Third, the composition oddities, CO2 shouting while water whispers, plus metallic flickers, pop up just often enough to be rude. Each burr is survivable. Together, they chew at the simple story. So where does designed stop being a meme and start being a hypothesis? Not at the first weird light curve, not at the second spicy spectrum. It starts where timing, force, and redundancy meet. If the strobe locks to clean course changes near Mars, bigger than asymmetric outgassing can plausibly push. If a breakup leaves fragments that arrange like blinds instead of confetti, if energy shows up in bands a sublimating coma has no business producing, then the map widens whether we like it or not. But vibes don't count, receipts do. Synchronized clocks across instruments, independent reconstructions landing on the same numbers, error bars tight enough to make skeptics grin. Extraordinary claims don't need drama. They need discipline that survives a mob of statisticians. There's a quieter problem hiding under the fireworks. What if this traveler dusts Mars with complex organics? Not cells, not life, just long carbon chains and prebiotic scraps. Exactly the kind of molecules that make astrobiologists sit up straight. That's a treasure and a headache. Every future biosignature claim would need a chain of custody, Martian or imported. You don't want to call a molecule native if an interstellar snowball sneezed it there last night. So teams are obsessed with timestamps, custody trails, and cross-checks from orbit to surface that can survive audits and arguments. Meanwhile, politics simmers. Open data kills bad myths, but historic signals tempt gatekeeping. Night shifts stretch into nocturnes. Servers hum. Citizen networks wire scripts that auto-upload raw frames the instant a curve steps. In half a dozen forums, trained volunteers stand ready to triangulate a flash and blast alerts at professionals. The first clean clue could land in a public thread before a control room clears its throat. What happens next splits into three futures. The boring miracle is the one that still makes scientists grin. It flares, tosses a few chips, clears perihelion, and fades on the way out. Later, journals deliver candy, exotic dust sizes, CO2-heavy chemistry, tail shapes that force better models. No aliens, big win. The messy break is rougher. The nucleus fractures hard. A temporary debris field drifts through Mars's neighborhood. Micrometeoroid hits spike, and a sensitive instrument gets peppered. Controllers reorient, budgets groan, science marches on. The narrative breaker is the one that keeps keyboards warm. Brightness beats click in lockstep with course changes beyond what vapors can plausibly shove. Emissions pop up in bands no simple coma should light. Debris falls into coherent sheets, rails, or repeating intervals. Two or more independent teams agree on timing and magnitude. At that point, engineered moves from late-night thread to morning memo. Not because anyone wants it, but because the numbers drag it onto the table. If you're watching in real time, read the sky like a lie detector. Start with light curves. Amateur photometry catches step changes before big spectrometers pivot. Look for quantized jumps that repeat like a drum rather than mushy waves. Then watch Mars's sky for reactions. If the ionosphere hiccups, MAVEN will feel a storm of charged particles and electric mischief. TGO may sniff chemistry kinks where none belong. Auroras could spark where Mars rarely glows. Brief, localized, loud. Radio arrays might hear a hissy fit as charged flows bend and break. When spectra claw through the bandwidth squeeze, hunt for isotopes that misbehave. D/H ratios drifting off the beaten path. 13C/12C quirks that make chemists mutter. Metallic lines that appear, vanish, and, crucially, reappear with the same timing across instruments. If timing unifies, the story stiffens. If timing frays, we drift back toward ice and sunlight. Redundancy isn't polite, it's armor. Behind the scenes, the choreography has already gone full siege. Contingency routes rehearsed. Data queues stress-tested until servers sing. Priority lists rewritten on the fly. Pulses, fragments, spectra with teeth. Everything else waits its turn. SAHO, STIRO, and Solar Orbiter keep their vigil near the sun's glare while Earth blinks. JWST and Hubble took their last pre-conjunction looks and will return for the postgame. The golden rule is brutal and simple. Transparency plus redundancy. Multiple eyes, independent methods, raw files in the open. That's how you stop a calibration gremlin from masquerading as a cosmic message. The stranger the result, the stronger that shield has to be. If it survives honest skeptics, it belongs on the wall. Geometry tattles, so watch the path like a polygraph. Raindrops come from everywhere. Corridors guide traffic. If the post-Mars arc trims itself in steps that keep time with the light, tiny side steps that land on the same beat as the strobe, then the trajectory becomes testimony. You don't steer a snowball, you drift it and pray. Guidance leaves a scent. Tail kinks that appear on cue. Coma density waves that roll like a tide table instead of a storm. Micro-accelerations that snap to the same metronome. Stack two of those under independent clocks, and the conversation changes from odd to organized. Even a shatter can talk if you listen right. Chaos makes confetti, fragments of every size, tumbling out of sync, sparkling and fading on their own schedule. Structure makes blinds, parallel sheets, repeating intervals in fragment brightness, persistence that looks suspiciously like discipline. Light curves don't lie if you compare notes across teams. If MAVEN's particle spikes echo a photometric step that echoes a trajectory twitch, you're building a bridge from curiosity to claim. Cross it slowly, but don't pretend it isn't there. And that green shroud? Yes, diatomic carbon can paint a comet neon. But this halo has stamina, depth, a refusal to fade on cue. If you wanted poetry, you'd call it a signature. If you want science, call it a constraint. If this is simply a CO2, first traveler from a colder cradle, we still win. New chemistry, better models, improved instincts about how natural loves to be strange. If it's a rubble pile with habit-forming vents, we win again. A sharper playbook for dust and solar wind. If it's a metronome with muscle, the wind gets louder and the questions get bigger. Reality doesn't care about our comfort. It cares about evidence. So anchor to 3 questions when the feeds explode. Is the timing real? Is the push bigger than vapors can give? Does the signal survive independent eyes? 1 yes is a tease. 2 yeses start a rumor. 3 yeses, and you stare down your own bias and say, all right, now we chase it. The worst outcome isn't, it was natural. The worst outcome is missing a once-in-a-generation clue because someone wanted a cleaner plot twist. Right now, somewhere between Mars and the Sun, a jade ember is writing tomorrow's argument in light. Control rooms are quiet because adrenaline eats small talk. Forums are loud because theories breed in the dark. The sky doesn't care. It delivers what it delivers. In the next packet, something will force someone to change their mind. Maybe a curve steps instead of slides. Maybe a line appears where no model waits. Maybe a cadence lands right on schedule, and the path twitches like it heard a command. Once is interesting. Twice is suspicious. 3 times, under independent clocks, and coincidence runs out of excuses. By morning, the narrative tilts. If this traveler behaves like a rebel comet, the textbooks get messier and better. If Mars's sky hums and its ionosphere stutters, we'll read those ripples for years. If the evidence corners us into a bolder hypothesis, then engineers, scientists, and philosophers share a table and argue with a grin you can feel through the screen. None of those futures is a loss. Either the toolbox grows or the map does. Curiosity cashes the check either way. Don't look up for certainty tonight. Look up for the next question. Track the curves. Watch for auroras. Listen for radio hiss. Read the spectra when they crawl through the static. Trust redundancy. Respect skepticism. And when the first Martian telemetry drops, meet it with wonder and discipline, side by side. 1 comet, 1 flyby, a long, bright whisper over a red horizon. The universe still keeps secrets, and tonight it might finally put one in your hands.